Well, it's getting to the end of the day, as you can probably tell from the noise going on, particularly the sheep, but we wanted to kind of do something that we've been meaning to do for the last week or so, haven't got around to. But basically giving some of our chickens a dust bath. So right now we've got two groups of chickens. They have access to sand in the barn and in one of their coops. So we're not too worried about those ones, but the three other groups that we have don't have that. So of course chickens are a little different than, say, waterfowl in that they use dirt and sand to take what's called a dust bath in. Essentially they get that worked into their feathers, and that really helps them manage parasites, like external parasites like mites and that sort of thing. So in the winter time, of course, that's not very available. So what we do is we offer them a mix that we give them inside their coops, and we're going to show you what that is. So here we are, and it's basically really simple. This is just a rubber tub. They're quite big, like I'll put my foot outside it. You can see they're pretty good size, so they can actually, one chicken can get in there at a time, sort of thing. These are plastic ones. We are using one rubber one because we use these as feed dishes during the summer months, or I should say we use them for feed dishes for the larger animals like the horses and the sheep and that sort of stuff. But then in the winter time, when there's a bigger risk of them cracking or breaking or that sort of thing, we take these plastic ones and we use them for the chickens, for their dust baths. So essentially this is another use for wood ash and of course sand. So you can mix in other things. The diatomaceous earth is one that some people mix in. So now the sand is absolutely nothing fancy. You can pretty much use any sand. This just happens to be sand that we've taken out of the sand pit prior to winter so that we had it. So it's got a bit of larger rocks and stuff in it too, but that's completely fine. They may eat it, and that's also fine. The wood ash, some people, there's different opinions on this, but generally this is a trick that's been done for a long time. I mean, wood ash is quite, you can see the powder. That's the stuff that's actually essentially the quote-unquote natural, who can say that, the natural insect deterrent, repellent, killer. Because what that does, that fine material gets into their feathers, works right down in, and if they do have any bugs, or even if they don't, it kind of acts a little bit as a preventative because they tend to keep the dust on them. Chickens are pretty dusty. Doing a little bit of reading, some people are a little concerned about using wood ash because it's quite light, and of course chickens are prone to respiratory diseases and issues because of their air sacs. Their breathing is a lot different than a mammal. That being said, our coops are pretty well ventilated, and we've used this for quite a while, so it's worked well for us. That's kind of our opinion. Like I say, we've used this for like 14 years 13 years, only in the winter time. We find the Chanticleers, any chicken, when they don't have access to regular dust bathing, it can really affect them as far as the external parasites go. So it's something we like to provide. It's really simple. Like this one, you can see there's no real ratio here. You could do 50-50, you could do kind of whatever. We do like to mix the sand, and one of the things that we do find a little bit with it, especially like this sand is not wet, but the sand is ever so slightly damp. You don't want it wet because obviously it'll freeze, but it helps sort of cut down on the amount of airborne dust from this when you kind of mix it in a little bit. Of course, we kind of do an initial mix, and then the chickens do their thing too, but yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of mix this up. I got a little stick, but probably won't even look like much as I do it. But, and this is not none of this is a precision operation. I'll just kind of go with that. But yeah, probably all I'll do because they're going to come through and mix it up quite a bit. You can see as I've been mixing that dust that coats. So that's, again, the part of the benefit that the wood ash gives them. Now, they may eat some of this. We don't find, like, there is some larger pieces in here. We don't find they eat that sort of stuff. That's usually left right until the very, very end. We usually, in a given winter, we might mix one of these up twice. They don't, even though they get it worked all in and they get some in the coop, it lasts pretty good. And it depends. Most of our girls kind of understand it. I don't think, because I'm getting to the end of the day, I don't think today they're not going to probably go right to dust bathing, but we'll see what they think of it when we take it over. All right, so I'm going to go ahead here and get this set up for this group of chickens. They have not had one for a bit. There, guys. You'll probably barely see it there in the corner, where they're not going to, you know, roost above it and get it all gross and disgusting. I think this group is thinking of heading to bed, so I don't imagine they're going to come over too much here at the moment. But nice. You're too close. I'm not even zoomed in. You can see I put it in here. One of our old girls is going to check it out. See what she thinks of it here. You can see it's not super deep here yet, but for the winter months we tend to not clean the chicken coops out. We just kind of add bedding to it. We find that works really well for them. Kind of adds to a sort of a deep bedding method. But there's only three old girls in here, so they kind of have a pretty big coop to themselves at the moment. It's a bit dark in this coop, but these guys were already asleep, and now they're going to go check it out since I just put it in here. Giving it the discerning eye. It's up to his dust bathing expectations. But anyways, at least we give them the opportunity, and I'm sure tomorrow somebody will try it out. Well, it's a bit windy out here, but anyways, that's just our little tidbit of information. Really simple thing to do if you live in a colder climate. You have wood ash and you have sand. You can easily give your chickens a dust bath that not only helps keep them in good shape, but also helps rid them a little bit of external parasites, which for us, we find the winter months are by far the worst time for that. So on that note, I better get going to feed some sheep. They're letting me know it's time to eat. So